Ultimately, astrology is a practice in empathy and a practice in recognizing the fact that people emote, feel, communicate so differently. And what somebody needs to feel safe is not what, their mom maybe needs to feel safe. It's completely different. There's different needs, different wants, and then the expression of those is going to always be dependent on these planets.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, a lifestyle podcast hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsay Simsick.
Tune in for a new episode every Tuesday to hear our honest conversations about topics like wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and self-development with guests who are really smart, really inspirational,
and really fucking funny. It's real, it's raw, and it's unfiltered.
Inspired by our transition from our 20s to our 30s, we realized it's so much more than that. Our mission is to provide you with the tools, guidance, and motivation to help you navigate any transitions in your life and propel your personal growth.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go. Okay.
He's one of those guys that takes a picture and says he's doing it for the gram.
Sometimes we slip into a black hole.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes we need a little brain break.
Yeah. Have you ever been sucked in by just one character of a person on Instagram and you just go deep? You go real deep to before they were a character on Instagram
and you just
to who they are now.
Are like,
what was your first post on Instagram? Do you remember?
Yeah,
sorry,
actually I do. Mine was nature. I did mad nature. So I was like,
okay, that's
I would
cool.
travel a lot and I would just do mad nature. And then it would be me clubbing. Oh, you know what it maybe was? I used to have tons of pictures of bottles.
Yeah.
Yo, I'd be at the club and there'd be pictures of glowing bottles.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
That's amazing.
Dude, that's fucking sick, Lindsay. Don't tell me that's not sick. Or it'd be like
drunk photos were also very popular to put on the gram.
You know what's also popular to put on the gram is pictures of your friends.
And not you, or just
And now people don't do any pictures of anyone else. Does anyone else look at their feed and want to fucking puke everywhere? I fucking hate my feed.
But then what do you do now? You just
what
do you go back to nature? I guess maybe.
I'm actually scrolling back all the way to the end.
Same.
You can archive. So I don't know if you guys know, but there's an ability to
pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip. There's an ability to archive pictures, so you can archive. Actually, my very first photo is of A$AP Rocky at Pitchfork Festival.
Wow, that's making a statement.
I put #peso, which is actually a very good song. It's a little bit about who I am. And then I put Chicago. I was at the beach. Frank Ocean, after show, number 3.
Oh.
Coachella or Lollapalooza. Me at a church viewing a wedding.
How did you go back that far so quick? Mine's
very easy. Me at the club. Me at the club.
Let me see.
Me at the beach. Me at the club. Me in New York. Me in Vegas at the club. Me and my girls at the club.
Oh my God.
Nas.
I'm still going. Hold on.
It was like music, beaches, my friends. Every time I'd go on a work trip, I had my Patagonia moment. So I had
the amount of filters that I have.
Oh man, my shit is so saturated.
Oh, this is all the way back. Oh, fuck.
2013 is my first posts. I had a good old selfie. And then, there's a picture of me in Justice League.
Mine is
Crew Love.
Juice in the fridge.
Wow. What's the comment?
Summer cleaning. And you know how many people liked it?
60.
2.
Mine is,
2.
2.
Oh, this picture of New York skyline? 1.
Who is it, Stace?
I don't know who liked it.
I mean, I had an okay aesthetic. It's getting started.
Also, me putting my fingertip on the top of the Empire State Building. The Empire State Building.
Dude, I have 100 pictures of me at Live in Miami.
Oh my God.
Fucking A. I was so sick. It's so hard to be fucking sick and sweet.
One time I went to Miami before I did a photo shoot in Miami.
Dude,
I thought I was cool as shit.
Did you get touched? 9 likes. Oh, I actually love this photo.
Oh God.
With the hair.
Oh my God. How funny.
Yo.
Dude, there's one bathing suit top, blue, scarf, floral, hat, cowboy. Same look.
I gotta post that.
That same look.
But I'm like feeling myself.
But yeah, you were like feeling it. That's the thing with pictures. That's like, wait a month and you hate that fucking photo. I wonder if I'll feel like that about my wedding. Anyways.
Yeah, for sure. I think if you don't 10 years later, you did it wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
So lately I've been really obsessed with scents.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of a turn to a conversation that's kind of dumb. But
it's okay.
I've been really obsessed with scents. Lighting candles at the apartment.
It's important.
Essential oils. Really loving just rubbing essential oils on my body. Really makes such a difference in how you feel.
100%.
That's like a health
My
tip I
sleep
have today.
changed when I if you like have a pillow spray or you do essential oils or like even just like if it's a cream or something like on your chest. I don't know what it's, but I just sleep better. But it's important too because like if people come into your home and they smell a candle, I mean, I do it because I have anxiety about guests coming in. I just want them to
I know.
smell something nice.
The other day me and Justin, because I was home all weekend, Justin, I like meditated and I walked back in. He's like, oh, I like you right now. I was like, after I meditated.
Oh.
And I was like, huh.
Feels the difference.
Felt the difference right away.
Be like, hey, you go meditate.
Literally, I made him meditate with me this morning.
I want to like you too.
I was like, I need 5 minutes.
Totally. That's
to meditate. He's like, okay, only 5. I'm like, okay.
So good.
The 5
How could you have reverse psychology that?
I know
to get like, 10 minutes out of them.
I know, literally. Be like, you shouldn't do 10.
Yeah,
you might get too powerful.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you're ready for 10 minutes. It's kind of, you have to work. Be like, you have to work your way to doing 10.
And he'd be like, nah, I got it.
Literally. He'd be like, oh, I'm a pro at 10. I can do 10. I do 10 all the time. I don't know. I would just start with 5. Let's just do 5 today. Only 5.
That's a good one.
I will do it. Actually, I'll let you guys know how my trickery works.
My brother just told me he's taking a TM,
That's
Transcendental
so
Meditation course, which it's also so good. I'm so happy. But I think I told him about this probably 9 months ago. So it's
someone else
funny.
had to tell him?
Yeah. Well, it's just like he comes around.
Yeah. That's
cool.
true. That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Come round.
And they say, okay, I'm doing TM. You're like, okay.
No, I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, what's TM?
I
was like, remind me.
Oh, fuck.
I didn't tell you about that.
Dude, that's everything.
Yeah, it's good. I want more dudes to, and it doesn't even have to be this like actually insane meditation practice. How cool to integrate it into your already cool thing you're doing in life and just say, hey, I need 5. And you go and you chill. I mean, nothing sexier.
Nothing. And that's my new obsession too, is like male self-care. There's so many things for us. You know, we have this podcast. There's the people we have on our podcast. There's a lot of platforms and outlets for women right now for taking care of themselves. And the men are just kind of being forgotten about.
Totally.
And, you know, maybe I'm missing something. I most likely am, but I think that we need it. Obviously, this is a very trying time. But it's almost like the men need it more because they're the ones doing all the shit. And they need to like... no one needs it more than another. But what I'm saying is that the men don't really have an opportunity or someone that they can look up to that I know of that's really meditating, loving themselves, doing affirmations, you know, all of these things that kind of even seem feminine. It's like they don't have
they just need the permission. Just like the whole thing where like, you know, let men cry or like teach boys that they can cry. It's like starting there and then like making sure that everything is a little bit more connected and all of these little things that you can do for yourself do like open you up emotionally because it's so kind and loving towards yourself. How can you not? You know what I mean?
I mean, how much better you show up. I just don't think they think about it, you know, how everything's interconnected. It's like, okay, well, if you're not sleeping and you're not eating well and you're not connecting with people you love and you're not saying nice things to yourself and you're not doing these things, I don't think they really see the effects that it has. I think they kind of think, I don't know. It's
just like, this is my body.
Yeah.
This is my work.
Yes.
This is my, like, it's very separate.
Yes.
But yeah, I completely agree. What can we do about that? I feel like we can do something.
We definitely can. I really need to have a
noodle on it.
Yeah. I'm going to noodle on it. That's my new thing.
Noodling
on things.
taking pauses, also switching subjects, taking pauses before saying things, emailing back, responding,
totally.
Noodling. Hey, y'all.
Just noodle.
2019 is going to be the year of noodling.
The year of noodling. Just noodle over it. We had this thing that we were going to do, and
I forget.
This weekend on Sunday.
Yeah.
We were going to do something, and I just really wanted to noodle over it. Now I don't think it's right. Or not right. I just don't think it's timely. So we're not going to do it. But, I would just take a second to noodle.
Because we always think we have to respond right away.
Yep.
We have to be a voice in something right away or whatever. And give thoughts pause. Give words pause. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Give life pause. GLP.
That's a good one.
Maybe we should rename our podcast Give Life Pause.
Yeah. GLP. Yeah, people are waiting for us to rename the podcast.
Shut up. Don't tell me what to do. I'm going to my room. Okay, this week on the podcast.
This week on the pod, we are so excited to have Aliza Kelly on the podcast.
Astrologist. I really liked this conversation with her. She's super cool, down to earth, because we really talked about the relationship to all astrological signs to one another. So she put it in a really easy to understand, digestible way that I often think about now. And that is, and one thing actually that she told me about Pisces, which I'm a Pisces, that I really been thinking about lately, is the contemplation of things. So a Pisces being the last sign in the zodiac, you've kind of been around the block. So I contemplate everything, what I'm saying, what other people are saying, why they're saying it, why I'm saying it, my interaction related to them, their interaction related to me. And sometimes it can actually get really fucking tiring. I think it was tiring to explain it, but her kind of giving myself permission to understand that and kind of see that as a Pisces in me, to overanalyze and in a compassionate way, was just really profound. So we talk a bit about that. And then also her book.
Yeah, her book, The Mixology of Astrology, is out now. And it's just really fun. So you can...
Beautiful too.
Yeah, it's so cute. Great thing to have kind of like on your little bar cart. So cosmic cocktail recipes for every sign, which is cool. You can apply astrology to any aspect of your life, down to the cocktail that you sip at happy hour. So it was a really fun conversation. She's just a little like ball of energy that loves astrology. And I love when people are so passionate about things that light them up. So thanks so much to Aliza for coming on the podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Please join our secret Facebook group. Let's talk about your sign, maybe what house you're in. I don't know. All of that stuff. The planetary alignment is real interesting to us. Let's do it. And rate and review on iTunes if you are pulled to do so. It really helps us out. And to be honest, I read one every day and it makes my day. It's so good. It's so good. We'll read one in the outro of this episode, but we love you. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the flip. This episode is brought to you by Kopari Beauty. Empowered by the coconuts. So I have, now the count is at 5 Kopari coconut deodorants throughout my everyday.
It's like everywhere I turn, I have one. I have one in my car, in my car console. I have one in the bathroom. Justin uses it now.
Okay.
I know. Justin using natural deodorant. It's pure laziness. He really just doesn't want to buy new deodorant. Makes me so happy though.
Well, I also carry one of the mini ones that we had in our events recently, just to give people, because I want them to know.
Totally.
I need you to know how amazing this beautiful push deodorant is.
I enjoy putting it on.
It's so good. So there's no aluminum, no baking soda, no parabens, no silicone, no phthalates, nothing. None of that. It's made with 100% organic coconut oil. It's pure. It's smooth. It's cooling.
It just feels so good. It does feel good. And I love the smell. I like reapplying it if I need. It's just fun.
It's fresh. And the smell is actually the best. Yeah. Actually the best. We've tried a lot of deodorants and it is so delish. And they have, obviously, if you guys know Kopari, all of their products. We love the coconut oil for your body. The face cream is actually amazing. They just have so many. Rose toner. Just go to the site. I would peruse koparibeauty.com, and you can use our code almost30 for 15% off. We love this brand. We had Gigi, one of the founders, on the podcast.
Really
check that.
Podcast.
Yeah, check that interview out. But koparibeauty.com, and the code is almost30 for 15% off. This episode is also brought to you by Hum Nutrition. How do they do it? They just keep upgrading. I'm sorry. The new collagen pop from Hum Nutrition is my go-to. This is going to make your skin look supple as hell. It is going to upgrade your water. It's delicious. It's premium marine collagen, which you know is highly absorbable and what we prefer. But Hum Nutrition is your one-stop shop for all high-quality vitamins. You know, it's really hard to surpass these strict regulations in the vitamin industry, and they meet all of the high quality standards. And leading nutritionists recommend Hum across the country, all over the world. They always have an outstanding experience with this brand. So how it works, you go on to humnutrition.com, you take a 3-minute quiz. It's like a little questionnaire, and they will create your own unique vitamin and supplement profile. And then you get a free nutritionist report. So a personal registered dietitian will review your data and then send you a personal profile and then some recommendations. And then you can customize your cart, whether using all of those recommendations or picking and choosing. And then you get them, and then you change your life. Okay? Hum Nutrition has definitely changed my life. Right now, I am obsessed with the red carpet. So I'm just all about glowing skin, really healthy, beautiful hair. It's a staple of mine. Love it so much. And as always, the raw beauty powder that I put into basically every one of my smoothies. And the collagen pop, as I mentioned before, got it in my purse right now. Little sparkly collagen pop. Love it. humnutrition.com. Use our code almost30nation for 15% off your first order. So that's humnutrition.com. Almost30nation is the code, and you get 15% off your first order. Here we are.
Resident astrologer.
Yeah, that's your new title.
Yeah. Well, you are a registered astrologer.
I am, and I accept it.
Yeah. How were your events? So the event at Malibu at the little beach house, what was that about?
So I have been touring for my new book, The Mixology of Astrology, which just came out, which pairs each sign with various cocktails. So I did an event in New York at Urban Outfitters. I did an event at the little Malibu house last week. And then this upcoming week, on Friday, I'm going to be doing another event in Silver Lake here.
Cool.
So all of my events are sort of a combination of cosmic cocktails, astrologically curated beverages, and then some sort of a workshop on astrology. I try to spice it up and keep it interesting so it's not the same content over and over again. So the one in Malibu was specifically surrounding the eclipses.
What's been going on?
Oh,
I feel like, it's been like,
what
wasn't
happened?
there like 3 of them or something?
Yeah, there were 3 this summer. There were 5 total this year.
Is that normal?
2, it's a little extra. It's a little more than usual. Eclipses happen every year, but 5 is definitely pushing it. It's a little over the edge.
What happens during eclipses?
So eclipses are basically lunations on crack. So, each month we have a new moon. We have a full moon. Sometimes we have 2 full moons in a month, which is called a blue moon when that happens. And those are relating to a 28-day cycle that is very much about our emotional wellness and how we are feeling about any given thing at any given time. Eclipses, however, come in sets, and they last in these longer series that span over 2 years. So these eclipses were relating to a series that started in August 2016. In early July, a new one came in with a new energy. So it was the first of a very brand new series that starting next year is going to be dominating the sky. But basically eclipses tell stories and they speed up the inevitable from happening. So whereas on a new moon, we're starting to go through a new emotional transformation, and a full moon, we're coming to a culmination. Eclipses are like you're getting fired, you're breaking up, you're starting a new romance. It's like serious, thematic, big things.
So it's like 5 opportunities for that this year. And there was eclipses, and that's just the moon is eclipsing the sun.
Yeah, when we talk about an eclipse, it's the moon eclipsing the sun. It's the relationship between those two celestial bodies.
Okay.
But eclipses happen all the time in the solar system, with different planets eclipsing other ones.
Right.
But yeah, the ones that we have feared for so long have to do with when the moon goes over the sun and obscures that light. And then, for instance, in August 21st, 2017, we had that right over the United States.
Right.
So we got a little taste of just how dramatic that experience is. But if we imagine our ancient ancestors who relied on the sun, for a certain amount of time per day, and they expected it, and then they expected the moon to be doing a certain thing, and then suddenly, it was dark in the middle of the day. It was like really scary. So for a long time, eclipses were actually like kind of doomsday vibe energy to them. And it was only in the 20th century that we were able to disconnect that apocalyptic feel.
How did you get into this work? Like, have you always been like drawn to like space and I feel like the astrological world and just being curious about that? Or did you have kind of a moment in time that really like pulled you to this work?
So, it's kind of a chicken and egg situation. When I was born, my uncle, who was an amazing astrologer, as a passion project, he was a lawyer in his day job. He calculated a chart for me by hand and sent it to my mom and prophesized on all of these things that I was going to do, including have an interest in astrology. However, he himself was an astrologer. So obviously he's like, oh, she's going to be one of my minions. But he passed away when I was 3. So I never had a chance to talk to him directly about what, he saw and what he was thinking. But when astrology came back into my life in 2013, when I started an astrology dating app, it was almost like a no-brainer in such a strange way where I was like, I guess this is kind of quirky, but it just feels so natural to me. And at that time is when I also started to understand the complexities of my own chart more, knowing and growing up as a Leo sun, which, I'm theatrical and I like to be on stage and I enjoy attention, blah, blah, blah. But like, is just a factor and a small component of the well of emotions that I feel inside. And it definitely didn't explain why I'm crying all the time, why I'm so sensitive. And then when I found out I was a Pisces moon, it just made so much sense that, oh shit, we're outputting one thing, but our internal experience could be completely, totally different. And that was ultimately what drew me in and then hooked me on it.
Yeah, the moon sign has been like really interesting to dig into. It explains a lot because like, if you're into astrology even just a little bit and your sun sign, you're like, well, yeah, I am organized and kind of anal and driven and whatever. And then like such a big part of me was like, no, I'm not. I'm not really a Virgo. Like you know what I mean? Like I like to make people think I'm a Virgo, like those qualities, but the moon sign really like spoke to me and gave me a lot of comfort and permission to kind of like be myself in that way and like kind of love, not the flaws, but just things that like weren't quite like aligning with my quote unquote sun sign,
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's the experience that I have personally had, and a lot of my clients have, and my peers in astrology, is when astrology grants you permission. It allows you to see that we are very complex beings with lots and lots of things going on simultaneously. Not one thing is making the other invalid, right? All of them are working harmoniously together to create the beautiful essence and individuality of all of us. I like to think of it sort of as those gears in the old FAO Schwartz clock, where they're all like moving at their own rhythm, but they're all, part of the same mechanism, right? And that's how our planets in our charts are working together and how the planets in the sky are helping illuminate things at different times.
And so what was also going on too? Was Mercury retrograde or Mars is retrograde?
Mars is still retrograde as of today.
Wasn't there like 3 retrogrades?
There's 6. 6 retrogrades.
What does retrograde mean?
So retrograde is actually an optical illusion.
Okay.
It means going backwards. Planets don't actually go backwards, but it's an optical illusion, as if when you are driving on the freeway and you're going at the same speed as a car, but it looks like the car is going backwards.
Yeah.
So our fabulous ancient ancestors were like, oh, it must be literally going backwards. And of course, now we know they don't do that, but we still see them going in the opposite direction through the signs.
And what explains kind of what we know as, signs that, Mercury is in retrograde? We all say like, don't do anything on electronics and don't make big decisions. Like is there anything that explains that?
So each of the planets has a very specific role and responsibility. And all of them work together to create this beautiful cosmic ecosystem. But when they're retrograde, they're not doing a very good job. They're kind of sloppy. So Mercury is the planet of communication. It's the messenger planet. It goes to all of the other planets and asks, okay, what message do you want delivered? Let me help you out. I'll transfer that. However, based on whatever sign I'm in, I'm going to transfer that message for you. But when it's retrograde, it's like dropping the ball on things. It's not delivering the right message. It's miscommunication. It's just not thinking straight. And Mercury also rules our cognitive processing. So if Mercury in the sky is not doing a very good job, Mercury in our world is not going to be doing a very good job either, because we're just going to feel like, everything's out of whack. But I think even a bigger deal than Mercury retrograde, because we have those multiple times per year, is Mars retrograde, which only happens every 2 years. The last time it happened was 2016, and Mars is currently retrograde right now. Mars is the planet of action and ambition and drive and motivation, and also libido. So over the past few weeks, it's been a lot of false starts. It's been a lot of like
sexually.
Yeah, and sexually.
A lot of false starts.
Sexually, professionally. Basically, like everything that you would normally be thrusting into, you're
literally.
No pun intended, baby.
And you're like thrusting in the wrong direction.
Yes, you're missing the hole.
Interesting.
You're missing the hole.
So, okay, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
no. That's yeah.
You give us a pun, we're gonna run.
Yeah,
oh, that's cute, you
so
guys.
Mercury is communication, Mars is libido and drive and ambition. Can you go through Mars is that? Can you go through all of the planets?
Yeah.
And
we can. Yeah. So first and foremost, we have the sun, which is not a planet, but we call it a planet in astrology. If that's like very disturbing to people, we can call it a celestial body and just be done with it. But its role is to show the truth. And it is the biggest, brightest star. And it during the day, it blows out all of the other planets, right? So we can't even see them during the day. And it's just the sun, what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, how we're living our life. And then the moon, as the sun begins to set and the moon comes up, we start reflecting on all of those truths and those experiences. And we're thinking, okay, what did I do over the course of a day? Did I like how I was being treated? Did I like how I was treating others? Did I like my activities? And the moon is that reflective, emotional processing of our daytime activities. And likewise, the moon reflects the sun. So it only is shining to us what the sun already provided it. So the moon is always working in relation to the sun. So these two planets work like, they are bonded perpetually in astrology, but one is sort of the action and then one is the reflection. So then we have Mercury, who is the communication. So Mercury goes to the moon and says, the moon is like, I'm feeling not very good about this. And then Mercury is like, don't worry, let me communicate that to you. Sometimes Mercury and the moon work really nicely together. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes the moon is like, my feelings are hurt. And then Mercury comes through and is cold and aloof and does not do a good job reflecting the vulnerability of the moon, sometimes vice versa. But that is Mercury's primary function. Venus's primary function is to remind us that we love to be in love. And that is a very indulgent purpose. Sometimes when people are first starting their journey into astrology, they'll look at Venus and say, oh, this is like my ideal soulmate. But Venus is more hedonistic than that. It's sort of like our projection of how we want to be courted. But again, if we want to know how we're going to feel, we need to look to the moon and make sure that our emotions are being treated well. So that's Venus. Then we have Mars, who is action and determination and libido and sex and different from Venus. Venus is like, is wants to be fanned, not fucked. It's like it wants to be massaged and oiled up, but it doesn't want to be like fornicated. That's like too aggressive and creepy for Venus. That's Mars. fully. So then we have Jupiter. So then we have this like crazy asteroid belt. And then when we emerge from it, we have giant Jupiter, who is just completely, it's like, it's lawless out there past the asteroid belt. Planets look weird. They're doing big things. They have much longer orbits. So Jupiter takes a year to go through a sign. Its orbit is 12 years total. And Jupiter is expansion, philosophy, education, but it basically just, it's also like gambling and casinos and like excess. It blows up everything in a good way. It enlarges it. Whereas Saturn is constriction. Saturn represents the father. It's us going to bed early. It's us doing our job. It's our payroll. It's us being very responsible. So when we go through our Saturn return, when we're in our late 20s, is when we're learning how to become our own father, astrologically. It's a big rite of passage. So then it gets even weirder. Then we get into Neptune, which is dreams and illusion and fantasy and the entertainment industry. It's also, it's the misty fog of spirituality. It's basically everything that's like very, is it real or is it not real? That's the Neptune concept, which is why it's the entertainment industry. Wow. And then Uranus, which is progress and innovation and rebellion and revolution. Uranus also rules earthquakes. So it is that sort of like tectonic plate shattering, like, oh my God, we're in a different progressive state of mind now. We're rebelling, we're having a revolution, whatever it is. It's technology as well. And then finally, Pluto, who is no longer a planet anymore, but we still count him because he has a big deal function, which is that he rules transformation. He represents the underworld, the underbelly. His journey is 240 years long. So 2020, I mean, as soon as I say that combination of numbers together, I feel like I'm already like, it's like very soapbox doomsday. But it is really crazy that the year of the election is going to be when Pluto returns for the United States from the signing of the Declaration of Independence, because it takes that long to come into a full orbit.
I just got chills.
It is chilling.
That's fucking crazy.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really crazy.
So who do you think's going to win? I'm just kidding. No, so like, if Pluto's the underbelly and the underworld, because like people have talked about this in the climate, and I know you probably don't want to stay on this for a while, and neither do I, but as it's been like a coming up of things, so kind of like showing the darkness so that we can like understand where we need light. So then would that be like Pluto's job to bring all of that up, and then we have the opportunity to change it, or like, how would that play into it, I guess, with Pluto?
Yeah, it definitely is Pluto's job to do that. Okay. Pluto wants us to rebuild by destroying. So Pluto is like, this system doesn't work. We need to, go underneath into the soil and grab the roots and replant it.
Yeah.
It not just like trim the leaves of something.
So the last time Pluto was all the way around was the Declaration of Independence?
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you know any other cool like correlations between dates and their rotations? So
yeah, I mean, also to your point, another thing that has been happening, which has been bringing a lot of shit out from under the rug and skeletons coming out of the closet, is that in October 2017, Jupiter, so that's that expansive planet, went into Scorpio, which is Plutonian energy of hidden things and secrets and everything that has been, it's also sex, secret sex. And that happened the week that the Harvey Weinstein scandal broke.
Wow.
So that was an intense one. And then Jupiter went retrograde the same week of the Academy Awards, when all of these celebrities were wearing designer black gowns and everybody was like, wait, like this is starting to feel like it's not actually a movement. This is starting to feel like it's a Hollywood thing happening. So then it went retrograde. And then it went direct again the very week that, actually to the day that Harvey Weinstein went back into the news because his trial started. So to me, on a societal level, I'm really tracking this transit, Jupiter through Scorpio, as part of the Me Too movement. Wow. And seeing us, pulling all of that information and all of this darkness to the surface so that in November, when Jupiter goes into Sagittarius and we want to learn and we're on a quest for knowledge, and we're feeling even more spiritual than we are now, we have all of that revealed. So we know what we're working with.
Wow.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor, NutriBullet Balance.
Guys, I am so pumped. Justin couldn't believe that we are working with NutriBullet because my nickname at home is Jamba Juice. I am, much to his dismay, I am blending things up at 6 a.m. I am blending things up in the evening. I make smoothies, my teas, everything like that. So when NutriBullet said that they wanted to work with Lindsay and I could not have been more honored.
Yeah, truly. It's a brand that, one, they've been around for so long. Mm-hmm. They've evolved with kind of the trends and the needs of people who are really serious about health and wellness. Mm-hmm. I'm just obsessed with this brand.
I am too. And then so we've been working with them. So before I had the regular NutriBullet and I loved it, I've had it for years and years. And so I was really thankful that they sent us the balance because I have a tendency to overpack my smoothie. And I put so much in there. And, a lot of times I can get all the nutrients I need and not have as much. So it's kind of been a good eye-opening thing for me to have the balance, the NutriBullet balance, and then have the app and sort of track and see how much and how many calories and fat and carbs of everything in my smoothie that I'm putting in. Mm-hmm. So I'm not being hard and fast with anything, but it does really help me understand my nutritional macros and, whatever I'm having for my breakfast so that I can kind of take that into consideration for the rest of the day.
Yeah, it's so great. And it's not intimidating. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, sometimes when brands say they've made things more high tech, I get nervous. This is so user-friendly, not intimidating at all. It's kind of fun. It makes the smoothie making, or if you're making soups or dressings, whatever you're making, really, really fun. So they've collaborated with nutritionists, dietitians, app developers, and just created this really fun experience. And you can customize it to fit your own needs, and you will just enjoy it. It's like one of those things where you're like, oh, this is actually fun.
They have tons of recipes and smoothie types. Mm-hmm. Like you can be like, I want low sugar, or I'm diabetic, I'm vegan, I need high protein. So on the app, you have the ability to get all these amazing recipes tailored to whatever your diet needs are.
Yeah. And so with the help of Bluetooth technology and the Smart Nutrition sensor, it's able to actually tell you the calories, protein, carbs, fat, and sugar intake based on the ingredient volume in the actual container of the NutriBullet balance. So it's really exciting technology, making your life easier. The more you know, I think it's just really powerful to have that information as you nourish your body. So for our listeners, we're really, really excited. We get to offer you 25% off if you use the code almost30 at checkout. So you can go to NutriBulletBalance.com and use our code almost30 for 25% off. So that's NUTRI bulletbalance.com. Code is almost30 for 25% off. This episode is also brought to you by Uwilla Warrior. This is the underwear that celebrates a woman's body. It is so comfortable. I know you just got yours. Mm-hmm. The problem is that I'll admit, and I'm sure, please raise your hand if you're one of these people, I have 57 pairs of underwear. I wear 4 of them.
My underwear drawer is real ratchet. It's real bad.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's first of all,
we haven't upgraded. I've grown up and my underwear hasn't. And so that's why this underwear brand is perfect, because it's quality. It's for my adult body. It's for only having a few pieces that are really nice and that I can wear all the time, that I feel really, really good in.
And it's made to naturally fit your curves. So a lot of underwear. So for most of our lives, we've worn underwear that satisfies other people. I was always thinking, my early 20s me, always thinking of someone else when I was buying underwear. What is he gonna think?
I know. Thong hanging out 24/7.
So this underwear does not pull in, so you're not getting underwear lines. It is seamless. It is beautiful. It is made with light wick moisture wicking fabric to keep you cool and dry all day long. This underwear is beautiful and so well made. And there's not a seam down the center crotch, which a lot of underwear has. So that creates that weird camel toe. The seams are on the side, and even the inseam is really, really small. So you're not actually feeling the seam. I'm obsessed with this brand. And I actually just got their VIP the very important panty. It's the thong. And it works with literally every outfit. It feels like I have nothing on.
Yeah, I love that it's seamless.
Oh my God.
That's been the best part, is that it's
So
super
good.
seamless. And it just feels like silk on my body. Like it feels like I'm wearing nothing, but also feels like it's hugging me at the same time.
Totally. So for our listeners,
Whoop, whoop.
So for our listeners, you can visit uwillawarrior.com/almost30. That's UWILA warrior.com/almost30 and use the code almost30 for 10% off your first order. In terms of like how people can use this information to navigate like their daily. So, I mean, on a larger scale where it's in the media and we can kind of, dissect that and, understand it on a deeper level. But like, how far do you have to go into like the houses and the ruling planets and all of that to really gauge kind of a situation?
I think that if by the time that you're going down that rabbit hole, I mean, you're already on the path to become an astrologer. I think that on a day-to-day basis for people who, it's not their job to try to interpret and analyze and do all of this stuff. I encourage people to just follow great accounts that can really summarize and explain how these energies are affecting individuals on a day-to-day basis. But of course, the way to find out how they're affecting you as an individual in your own orbit and in your own world is to be familiar with your natal chart and to understand, when the moon is in Capricorn, what's being activated in your chart. Are there other planets that are in Capricorn that are firing off right now? When was the last time they fired off like this? And to understand so you can become familiar with your patterns in your own life.
Can we get a little refresher of, because I actually have heard it a few times, but I still don't know how to explain it, of rising, moon, and sun signs?
Your natal chart, your birth chart, is a snapshot of the sky at your exact moment of birth. So basically, it's a 2-dimensional depiction of a 3-dimensional concept. The sun is where the sun was at your moment of birth. When it's your birthday, you have a solar return. The sun takes 365 days to reach its orbit. So every year, the sun returns to its exact position at your moment of birth, which is your sun sign, your truth, sort of your outward, your big, vibrant, vivacious energy that you are leading through with in this life. Your moon is the position of where the moon was at your moment of birth. So you're going to look and see what the relationship between those two things are. How does your inner world respond to your day-to-day experiences, your outer world? The rising is what constellation was coming up on the eastern horizon at your moment of birth. So this dictates sort of your landscape. What world are we working with? So based on your rising sign, sort of what, where you're playing, basically, where you're hanging out. For me, as a Capricorn rising, I'm hanging out in a Saturn world, which is like daddy issues and lots of work and like this big come up, this like hard work pays off type of concept, but not an easy landscape to be working with. If you have a Leo rising, you're dealing in a sun's world. So you're going to have a lot of, people are going to feel that vivacity on you, that sun energy, that truth, that entertainment, that that warmth. And then also on the flip side, the ego, the narcissism, everything that goes with being the center of the universe. Totally. I can say it because I'm a Leo sun. So
rings true to me, honey.
Yeah. So so that's the rising sign. They say that it's, people read your rising before, on first impression. I don't 100% feel that that's true. I feel like people respond to what their landscape is to begin with, So if you're somebody who has Saturn as your chart ruler, if you're living in a Capricorn world, yeah, maybe people are going to think you're a little bitchy when they first meet you because like life's hard,
We hear so often, and I know you mentioned earlier when you first got here about the dating app. So in kind of like relationships, whether it's love, friendship, family, like what can you use about the rising, the sun, and the moon signs to kind of navigate relationships and use them as tools so that you can connect in the best way possible?
That's a really fabulous question. I mean, as you guys could probably imagine, the number one question I'm asked all the time is like, who am I compatible with? And if only things were that easy, you know? Ultimately, astrology is a practice in empathy and a practice in recognizing the fact that people emote, feel, communicate so differently. And what somebody needs to feel safe is not what, you know, their mom maybe needs to feel safe. It's completely different. There's different needs, different wants, and then the expression of those is going to always be dependent on these planets. So I think that, you know, understanding, first of all, just that concept that everybody's really different is number one. And then when you start looking at your chart and seeing the way that other people's sun signs or moons or risings affect you, you can understand sort of how you're teaching them lessons and how they're teaching you lessons in turn. Because ultimately, everybody who comes into our life is here to teach us a lesson. And some lessons last a few hours and some last decades. But it's all very important to be kind, to be mindful of the fact that everybody's just on their own journey. And we just try to support each other as much as we can.
I love that explanation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you did our opening quote in there.
Yeah, literally I was like, hey, post-production team, that was our opening quote.
Now you heard it first.
Yeah, that's and it also makes it digestible for people because I think so many people just like tag astrology as, you know, too out there or no, it's not true. It doesn't ring true for me. But for it to be kind of this lesson or practice in empathy, I don't know. That makes me even more curious about kind of digging in and makes me look at it differently rather than just about me, more about the relationships.
Yeah, but it always has to start first with you.
Yeah.
And I think that that's also, as a Leo sun, I think that that's pretty cool also.
Yeah.
You know, even as my studies have progressed and, you know, I'm obviously very advanced as an astrologer now, whenever I take a new course or I begin a new lesson or I learn something new, we always start at our own charts. Because first, before we can figure out what it means for others, you need to know what it means for yourself. You need to know, like, okay, this energy feels like this in my life, and I can personalize this. So that's always the beginning of astrology, is starting with your own chart and then developing enough empathy and understanding and kindness for yourself so that you can start looking and seeing, oh shit, this chart, you know, my boyfriend's chart is so different than mine. This makes so much sense, but it's also okay because we're teaching each other different things.
Where did astrology come from?
The Babylonians.
Really?
Every culture has their own version. Yeah. The Babylonians developed the zodiac 5,000 years ago.
Was it like a download someone got, or
it was observation, you know? So we have the Mayan zodiac, we have the Western zodiac, which is what we use, the Chinese zodiac, the Korean zodiac, Indian, which is Vedic astrology.
What is Vedic astrology?
It's the Indian astrology. So it's based it's very linked to Hindu culture and religion, but it's a completely different, like I've looked at Vedic charts and it's like a completely different, it literally is a different language. So,
Whoa. But would it say the same information?
No. So one of the differences is that in Western astrology, we sort of stopped the planets' motion, so to speak. They're sort of where they were 1,000 years ago. And we haven't calculated for the shifts that happen over time. That's called tropical astrology. Vedic astrology actually accounts for these changes, where the planet, how these like sort of micro orbits that they're doing and these motions of just the gradual, you know, expansion of the universe. It's technically more accurate in terms of where the planets are in the sky at any given moment, but it has a completely different set of criteria and rubric from the Western astrology that I practice and most of us practice.
Whoa. So Vedic would essentially take into consideration like how a person changes because the planets are also changing?
Yeah, I mean, Western astrology does too. Okay. It's just that we look at the planets a little differently.
Okay. That's crazy.
But all the same zodiac. All the same wheel.
Okay, with the same, not the same characters.
Not the same characters because those shift depending on the culture. So, you know, for us, we have a lot of Greco-Roman influence.
Yeah.
So all of the planets are named after Greek and Roman gods.
Yes.
So we have sort of incorporated our cultural language and mythology into it. Whereas if we were in India, there's a completely different set of mythology and folklore, and that's what's superimposed onto the zodiac.
Love that.
A lot of our listeners are going through their Saturn return. So can you unpack that a little bit? I know, I feel like we're rounding out our Saturn return. I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I think I had mine.
Mine was like 27.
Yeah.
Right?
So it lasts for
when I'm
about 2.5 years.
Okay.
Saturn returns serious. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, even as an astrologer, I guess I was a little bit cavalier going into it because I was like, I know all about this. Really taken me by surprise. Could not believe the type of shit that's happening during my Saturn return.
Really? Are you in it now?
Yeah. Everything changes, you know, and it's interesting too because we're living longer now than we ever have before. And the Saturn return in medieval times was basically like, you know, this is kind of the end of the road. You go through one Saturn return and that is when you reach your peak, which is in your late 20s, early 30s. And then from there, it's all downhill. Now we expect to have 2 Saturn returns, often 3 Saturn returns. So the purpose of them is very different. The first Saturn return that we have in our late 20s is when we become our own person. It is the astrological bar mitzvah. It is when we are finally fully adults. And the reason for that is because we are learning how to be our own dad, to take care of ourselves in a very sort of typical, traditional, patriarchal sort of way. So either we are realizing that our dad sucks, we're realizing that we need to step up to the plate in certain ways. If you have been just coasting across all of your 20s, Saturn return is like, wow, I actually really need to get my shit together.
Yeah.
For those people who have had difficult lives up until their Saturn return is when finally things start to like settle in and they feel the fruits of their labor. So it affects people differently based on how things have gone up until that point. But by the end of it, when you finally leave, you are your own person. You're no longer a construct of what your parents want you to be, of what society wants you to be, of what your teachers want you to be. You are you, which is a really beautiful way to come out of such an intense moment in your life.
Yeah. We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor, Banish.
I've been loving it. So every single time I get a facial or go to a dermatologist, they all say vitamin C. So Banish has a bomb vitamin C spray that I've been using just after I cleanse. I'll use my cleanser and then I just spray the vitamin C spray on. And if I'm feeling freaky, I'll use their ice roller.
The ice roller is bomb. It reduces inflammation. I do it every morning and every night. And it's actually, if you want to use the Banisher, which comes in the set, it's actually good to kind of almost like numb the skin a little bit. So the Banisher.
What is it?
The Banisher is creates the little micro wounds. So it tricks the skin into thinking it's injured and then it kickstarts the healing. Yeah. Exactly. So it kickstarts the healing and collagen renewal process, which I have this weird satisfaction with microneedling. It is so good.
Damn, and I tried it actually.
And I wake up and my skin is like plump and
really?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So yeah, it helps with collagen production when you kind of do that. It doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't hurt at all. It's just kind of like stimulation on the skin. And so if you are trying to reduce and get rid of your acne scars, this is a great option. And yeah, they have masks as well that come in the kit. It's helped my skin a lot because I do have some acne scars around my jawline. So for our listeners, you can go to banish.com, BANISH.com, and use the code almost30 for $10 off your order. And let us know if you get it. Join the group. Tell us about your experience. We're loving it. This episode is also brought to you by Beekeepers Naturals.
Beekeeps. Guys, when we had this episode with Carly Stein, the CEO of Beekeepers Naturals, everyone was obsessed.
Freaked out.
It's so great to see someone that has a purpose, has a reason, and is really doing something that is changing the world. So giving people a natural opportunity to do better for their health.
Yeah, absolutely. This company tests the shit out of their products.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And these formulas really work. So they live at the intersection of science and nature. So they're giving the cleanest ingredients and then also just solving health issues that I didn't know that I had and could prevent. So I am loving the propolis right now. So it's an all natural immune booster. It's antiviral, antifungal, antimicrobial. So like basically it's protecting my body on another level. So recently I had like, sometimes I get stuff with my throat. Don't know why, but I had a sore throat or I had kind of the tickle of it. And I took the propolis and it was gone within 12 hours. No joke.
Wow.
Really, really good. What do you love?
I love the Belixir. I love the Belixir. So Lindsay and I have so many interviews now during the day since we're, on the grind. So the Belixir helps me to just be sharp, helps me with mental focus. And I just really like it. It's a quick, easy shot and it's delicious.
Yeah,
so Beekeepers has been featured in Goop, Elle, Vogue, all of the places, and it is the hot thing. And we are so happy to be working with such a great brand.
Yeah, so you can go to beekeepersnaturals.com and use our code almost30 for 15% off your order. Make sure you join our secret Facebook group. You can ask us what we're using and why we like it, and others who have gotten Beekeepers Naturals, they love it too. Almost30 is the code for 15% off at beekeepersnaturals.com. This episode is also brought to you by Maxi Climber.
So I was in LA. There's this new workout that everyone's talking about, and it's basically a bunch of Maxi Climbers in a room.
Yeah.
And I went with Aubrey.
The workout is so effective in such a short amount of time.
30 minutes.
It's shocking.
I've never experienced that, to ever do something that was that quick of a workout. So it's really just like, it was like a vertical climber workout. And really it gets your butt because you're like moving your legs up and down, and then you're getting your arms too. So I liked it because it was like moving the armpit fat like right underneath your bra, which is really nice. But now we have something where we can basically do that workout at home, and everyone can do that even if you're not in LA.
Yeah, we've been spending a lot of time at the studio. So we actually have one here as well, to kind of fit in just a little bit of movement in between interviews and things like that as well. So whether you're in your home or even your office, this piece of equipment, one, is super easy to assemble. It's 90% pre-assembled, which I like to hear because I don't like putting things together.
Same.
So you just attach the little legs and you're done. And it could easily fit underneath your bed or underneath the desk, anything like that. So I love that about it. It saves money and time. So you don't really need a gym membership. This cardio and this strength training is like a full package. And they also have an app which you can get and track your workouts. There's trainers on the app. There's just a great way to kind of make it a holistic experience. So for our listeners, you can go to maxiclimber.com and enter the code almost30 at checkout to get 15% off your Maxi Climber plus bonus accessories worth over $50. And that includes a waist trainer, fitness mat, and workout armband. So almost30 is the code at checkout on maxiclimber.com. Gets you 15% off plus bonus accessories valued at over $50. This is great for people who want to save time, who want to do a hard, intense, effective workout in a short amount of time, who don't really have the space for a huge piece of equipment in their home. This fits underneath a bed, in a closet. It's so easy, so light. I'm pumped. I'm pumped at the possibilities here, guys. So let us know if you get the Maxi Climber and how you like it. Send us videos, tag us. We want to know all the things.
Few questions from the homies in the group, just because we want to bring them in. Where could they start as readers for the first time? Like if they're just getting into this, like where could they go for Astrology 101? Everything seems very dense.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Things are. Obviously, follow me.
Yes, yes, honey.
Aliza Kelly. But there's a lot. Cafe Astrology is a really great website with a lot of really good content. Astro.com is a really good place to just calculate your chart and then just look at the table and see what each planet is in. See what your sun sign is in, see what your moon, your Mercury, and then just Google each one of those and find, different interpretations of those things. And then on your own, you can start to piece this all together. The best place to start, though, is looking to see the sun, the sign, the moon, the sign, Mercury, the sign, and understand the relationship between those things just as each separate entity. And then when you're comfortable with that, you can start looking at them. Okay, there's two different, both my Mercury and Venus are in the same sign. What does that mean? My sun and moon are opposing each other. What does that mean? And you could start create more of a comprehensive understanding, but just go sign to sign, planet to planet first.
Love that. Information on nodes, what they mean and how to harness the information.
Nodes are so cool.
What are nodes? I actually don't know what nodes are.
They're the lunar nodes in our chart, which are activated actually by eclipses. So an eclipse happens when the sun and the moon reach the lunar nodes. And this is when the moon's orbit, which has its own, it has its own little path that it does around the earth, aligns with Earth's orbit. And then the sun, the moon, and the earth form a complete alignment with each other.
Wow.
So when that happens is where the node is. So each person has a south and north node in their chart, which is the lower and upper boundary of where that alignment is going to occur. And the south node represents your past life. If you just want to be in this one vessel, then it's also our early childhood experiences. It's our comfort zone. And the north node represents either where we're dropping our soul off or where we're coming into in this life. Basically, it's our destiny. So it's a really big deal. And it's eclipses that are triggering those. So that's also one of the reasons that eclipses are such a huge deal, is because our nodal points are being illuminated.
What do you mean by triggers it? Like, is there an event? Like, does something happen, or we should be well aware of it? Like, what does that mean?
So when I use the word triggered, because everything's triggering in a sense, because the planets in the sky are always moving around. And at any given point in our personal charts, they're going to be activating, triggering, speaking to something in our own charts. So the eclipses in the sky activate the nodal points in our chart.
Okay.
So these last eclipses have been in Leo and Aquarius for the past 2 years. So if your south or north node is in either Leo or Aquarius, these have been crazy because your destiny has been activated. This next group of eclipses is going to be in Cancer and Capricorn. So if your nodes are in Cancer or Capricorn, you're about to get closer to feeling your destiny.
I got to check my nodes.
Yeah. Check
the nodes.
Check your nodes.
Okay. So when it comes to relationship compatibility, is the Venus sign the best place to look?
No, it is not. It's too hedonistic. We obviously want to see what Venus is doing because Venus reminds us that we deserve to be wined and dined and we deserve to be pampered and luxuriate, and that our lovers ought to be doing those things to us. But it's not enough. We really need to look at the moon and make sure the moon is happy. It's not enough to just make Venus feel like a goddess. You need to make sure that that moon, which is our safety, our protection, our comfort zone, is also protected at any given point. And sometimes that's seamless. And then for some people, that's not that easy, especially if the moon and Venus are doing completely different things.
Good one. Literally, why are Geminis psychos?
They're not.
Are they just misunderstood?
Totally misunderstood.
Does everyone assume that?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys. I'm gonna go through very quick speed through the different signs.
Oh, I was hoping you'd do that.
And this is going to help us understand Gemini a little bit more, because the signs are not operating in a silo. Each one is responding to what it knows before it and what is coming after. So
as far as the chart and the wheel.
It's the wheel. I mean, everything in astrology is a cycle, including how the signs relate to each other. So we start our cycle in darkness, and suddenly there's a spark of light, and it is a little match, and we have no idea why it's lit, and we have no idea why that happened in the first place, but suddenly we're going. And that's Aries energy. That's just that motivation, that moment, that impulsive, like, I'm just going to do this thing and light this damn match. And I don't even know why I'm lighting it in the first place, but it has to get done. So Aries kicks us off. Then we have our little match and we're looking around our scene and we're starting to see objects, and we're seeing these different things, and we're touching them and we're smelling them and we're tasting them. And that's Taurus, which loves to activate the senses, but it's armed with this little match. So it's the first time it's seeing all of these things. So it's like blown away by touch and scent and taste and light and all of these earthly, beautiful things. So now that we know what we have and we've sort of created our little suitcase of objects, we want to know what other people are working with. So that's Gemini, right? Gemini is like, I got this stuff. What do you have? Gemini is just curious. It wants to know, this is what I'm working with. What are you guys working with? Do I have the best scene here, or do you guys have the best scene? And it just wants to trade information. Gemini is really curious. So that's the deal with Gemini, is that it's just very, it wants to get its hands on everything and understand how other people are living their lives. But if that spirals out, it can get really gossipy, it can get really flighty, it can get really flaky. So that's often, and it's the twins, right? So it's going in multiple directions. So that's the bad rap that Gemini gets. Not fair. They're just really curious souls. But of course, after you've gossiped all day long, your mom is going to be like, you better get home. Like, this is not cool. And that's Cancer. So Cancer is the home, and it's the mother, and it's our nurturing energy. And Cancer reminds us that it really doesn't matter what objects you have if you don't feel safe in your infrastructure. So Cancer builds a safe space for us. And it reminds us that we need to be settled and grounded in order to be able to do anything. And then once we are settled and grounded, then we want to dance and we want to sing, and we're Leo and we want all the attention because we feel safe enough to be able to go after it. So Leo couldn't be Leo without Cancer. Leo couldn't feel confident enough to want to create an extended community and share its warmth if Cancer wasn't there being like, okay, be home by 10, but you're good. You're good to go. But then after we've like tap danced our way through Leo, Virgo comes through and is like, is this sustainable? Is this going to be able to be a routine? Is this a one-off thing? Is this going to be incorporated into your daily life? Is this healthy? Is this going to make you feel good? Because Virgo is the most analytical sign. So it wants everything to be organized and practical and utilitarian and functional. And if it's not, then Virgo's like, not working. That's not going to happen. And then the next sign, Libra, creates a huge shift in the zodiac, because up until now, we only really are working with our own perspective and ourself. And Libra comes through as your cosmic +1. So Libra is the introduction of another person into our life. It's the scales, it's diplomacy, it's you and someone else, and two perspectives coming together to create a bigger whole. So Libras love to be in partnerships because of this, right? Because it's all about finding the complement to your own perspective. But then after you've been dealing with somebody else, you realize that like, oh shit, now I not only have my own baggage, but I have someone else's bullshit to deal with as well. And that's Scorpio, realizing that life is not just like, holding hands and skipping down this beautiful Libra sunny trail. It's also hard work, and there's darkness, and there's trauma, and there's pain. And Scorpio teaches us the fact that there's always the death component to life, right? There's always the other side of something, and something needs to go in order to rebuild again. But then after we've done that, we have Sagittarius, which is basically like, okay, cool, I've gone through the hard shit. Now I want to travel and philosophize and learn and explore. And Sagittarius is the last fire sign. It's a wildfire. It just is on a quest. It just wants to learn as much as it possibly can. Then Capricorn comes through and is like, okay, how can we monetize everything you've learned? How can we build on this? And how can we make a legacy? How can we make something sustainable, a big professional pursuit for this? So Capricorn is, the boss of the zodiac. It's hardworking. It's like CEO kind of stuff. It doesn't want to do the petty. It doesn't want to deal with like Taurus's objects. It doesn't want to deal with Virgo's scheduling. It wants to be sitting behind that desk, corner office, like signing off on things. But then, we realize that if we are just fueling and satisfying our own ego, it's not enough, which is when Aquarius comes through and is like, but is this actually helping people? is what you're doing helping the greater good? And if it's not helping the greater good, then it's coming from a place of ego, and that's not sustainable either. So Aquarius is the people. It's the opposite of Leo, which is the monarch, the king. Aquarius represents the subjects. And Aquarius is the reminder of the fact that things need to be helping great masses in order for them to actually be making a difference. And then after we've done that, we have our audience, we have our followers. You know, Aquarius is also technology. We then go back into the cycle, right? We reach Pisces, which is the last step where we've learned all of this. And there's really nothing else to do at this point other than to reflect, to feel, to think about how much we've learned and how much we've accomplished. And Pisces are super empathetic. They absorb everything. And that's because they're taking in all of these experiences and they're thinking about just how massive they are, you know, that we're part of something so much greater than any given moment. And then we go back into the darkness and it's Aries that lights the match and we start the cycle all over again.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's why some signs have a bad rap and others don't.
So interesting.
They all have different purposes.
Literally.
Wow. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for our community to hear this because so many of them have been kind of trying to navigate, not blindly, but just maybe through one sign and to incorporate them all and have it be kind of this like holistic and to kind of look to the other planets for a little bit of guidance and insight. And
to see your book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my book is on cocktails, which is really fun. And I love alcohol.
It's beautiful.
but more, you know, it's definitely, it's a fun and playful book. But what I'm really excited about is that it reflects how astrology could be applied to really everything. Yeah. And ultimately it's about celebrating your truth, who you are, having fun while doing it. And I don't know, just like unapologetically being yourself.
It is beautiful. It's very refinery vibes.
Yes.
With like the branding and stuff.
Yeah, that's pink.
So the pink, it is so beautiful.
How can people connect with you?
So on Instagram, I'm Aliza Kelly.
Yeah, you have to follow her.
And on my website, alizakelly.com. So that's it.
Awesome. And so you're on tour for the book now?
I am, yeah.
Or will you be? So people...
So I'm going to be in LA for another week or so. And then I'm back in New York and I'm doing some more events there.
Great.
So
on her
website,
on her website, all of her events are there too.
That's true.
Thank you so much, honey.
Thanks.
This was
Thank you guys
good.
so
You're
much.
so amazing.
Best Virgo, Pisces, opposites. Beautiful
I know.
balance. I love it.
Everyone always says that.
Thanks.
Yeah. You know, Virgo is actually daytime magic and Pisces is nighttime magic.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So it's a whole magical scene over here.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Full wheel.
Yeah, we feel that. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, this is amazing. I'm so glad I have this book. Thank you, honey. All right, ladies, enjoy this. Connect with her. You can DM her, as I know you will. And then AlizaKelly.com. And we love you so much.
Kelly.
Aliza Kelly. I should be done. I'm going to get off the mic. I'll see you later. Bye.
I love you. Bye. What a blast.
What a blast. So join the secret Facebook group and we can talk more about this. Tell us what you learned. Tell us what you loved. And then the review of the week.
Review of the week.
From Yam Sandwich.
Wait, that makes me so happy.
Who are you, Yam Sandwich?
Yam Sandwich?
Please DM us. We're going to send you.
I feel like I've seen that name on Instagram. Maybe
really?
They're one of our... They follow us. Okay, cool.
I want to send you something.
Love a yam.
Love a yam. Love these girls and love this podcast. 5 stars. Every time I hit play on a new episode of this podcast, it feels like I am instantly welcomed into a very close friend's home. The topics that this podcast cover are all passionate interests of mine, like entrepreneurship and social issues, and even topics that I'm slightly curious about, like spirituality and relationships. These episodes are a great jumping off point to learn more. Each episode is a deep dive and thorough interview, and these girls make me laugh so much, and their openness is so inspiring and refreshing. Thank you so much, honey.
That's what's cool about podcasts is that you can kind of dip your toes into something in the comfort of your own home privately.
Totally.
So you can like learn about the weirdest shit and no one will know about it. Totally. And if you want to take it, you take it. If you leave it, you leave it.
And that's what we're here to do, is kind of provide this information to you, give an objective perspective on a lot of it in a humorous and light way, and hopefully expand and open your mind. So we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you connecting with the women and men of Almost 30 Nation. they're really appreciative of it. And it's beautiful to see this community grow.
Yeah. We love you so much. Thank you. Thank you. We will see you next Tuesday and Thursday for new episodes as always.
Peace.